Hi, my name is Guang, 12 years old. For this lesson, we'll be continuing on with another lesson for techniques and applications for definite integration. For this lesson of definite integration, we're going to have double integral d bracket 3 minus 6xy bracket dx dy. D is equal to d1 plus d2 because there are two enclosed areas two areas bounded that we have. That's why we have the d1 and d2. So d1 is bounded by y equals to x squared and y equals to 1, while d2 is bounded by negative y equals to x squared and y equals to negative 4. So what we're going to have here is, so first we're going to draw the graph, which we are going to get so over here what we are going to have, so for our d1 we have y equals to x squared and then after that we also have the y is equals to 1. So y equals to x squared, y is equals to 1. So for our first area bounded is this part. This is d1. While on the other hand, we also have our d2, which is just a negative part because that we have a negative x squared. So we're going to get, I don't know why they do not look similar. So over here what we have for this part is y equals to negative x squared, and over here we're going to have y is equals to negative 4. So this part is basically d2, the second area bounded. Okay, so that means that these two together you'll get d. So what we're going to have here is, so first, which one are we going to integrate according with respect to? Apparently you can do it with both of them, but over here for this part I'm going to I'm going to integrate with respect to x first, y first. So when we integrate with respect to y first, what we're going to have here will be, so supposedly it will be two different parts. It will be from negative 4 to this function, and then we'll also have this function to 1, right? So over here what we have mainly, so I'm going to say for d2 first, so it'll be from negative 4 to and then what we're going to have for our x will simply be here. So for this part y is equal to negative x squared. So over here what we have is, so negative x squared is equal to negative 4. So x squared is going to be 4. So x will be from negative 2 to 2. While over here we also have our d1, which is going to be, so we're going to add on with our d1, integrate with respect to y first. So when we integrate with respect to y first, it will be from the x squared to 1. Then what about our x? So for our x, we're going to have, so x squared is equal to 1. So x goes from negative 1 to 1. Okay. now that we have gotten our boundaries and our two different parts that we have to integrate, what we are going to have here is, so when we integrate for this part, we are going to get 3. So since we integrate with respect to y first, it will be 3y minus 6. So 6 divided by 2, because y needs to become y squared, so it becomes 3xy squared. And then after that, you substitute from -4 to -x squared dx. Then plus, you also integrate for this part, which you're going to get, once again, 3y minus 3xy squared. Hold on a sec. Whoops. Then after that, we're going to have from x squared to 1 dx. So now we can substitute the boundary inside, and you're going to get, so when you substitute -x squared, going to be -3x squared. Substitute, so minus, you have this -2, which you're going to have a plus, and then 4 times 3 will become 12, and then this part you also can substitute inside, which you're going to end up, since this is square, so the negative just becomes a positive. And then after that, over here, x to the power of 5. Then after that, you're going to minus, which will cancel out with this negative and end up with a, so 4 squared becomes 16, and then 16 times 3 will end up with this, okay? Then now for our other part, we're going to substitute this inside, which we're going to, so when we substitute this part inside, you're going to get a 3, then minus 3x squared, then minus, so when you substitute 1, it becomes 3x. When you substitute this, negative becomes positive, and add 3x to the power of 5 dx. Okay, alright, now that we have gotten this part, we can integrate for both of these parts already, okay? So when we integrate over here, this is going to become x cubed over 3, which you're going to simplify with this part. So you're going to have a negative x cubed plus 12x, then minus. So this part, it becomes x to the power of 6, then you have to over 6. Which will simplify with the 3 becoming a 1 over 2, x to the power of 6 over 2. Then for this part, you're going to integrate, which you're going to end up with the x squared over 2. And when you simplify, you're going to end up with the 24x squared. And then from -2 to 2. Well, for this part, when you integrate for the first one, you just get 3x. The second one, you have a x cubed over 3, so simplify negative x cubed. Then for this part, you're going to get x squared, so here's going to be 3 over 2x squared plus. So this part you integrate and you get 1 over 6, so you get 1 over 2x to the power of 6 from -1 to 1. And now that we have finished for both of these integrations, we are going to substitute the boundary inside, which you are going to get a -8, which is 2 cubed, minus. So for this part, you have a minus become positive, but since this is cube and this is negative, you're going to have another minus ending up with a negative, okay? So -8 minus 8, then for this part, you're going to have plus 12 times 2 is 24. 24, and then you minus this part, which minus and this minus cancels each other out, and you're going to get a plus 24. Then for this part, when you substitute inside 2 to the power of 6 over 2, we'll end up with a 2 to the power of 5 and all. And then this part, when you substitute the negative cancels out. Well, this, since the power is even, and so it will still be a positive. Well, for this you get positive 24 times 2 square. Well, this one you minus, well, since it's even power, so when you sub it in, it's still going to be negative. So 24 times 2 square. Then for this power we have over here is plus. So substitute 1 inside, you get 3. Substitute negative 1 inside, you get negative 3. Substitute 1 over here, you get minus 1. Substitute 1 over here, you get. So apparently for this part, why did we get negative 3 just now was because so for this part it's supposedly plus 3 because that the negative from the minus from the boundaries and the negative over here will cancel each other out. Well, for this part you have minus 1. There are going to be 3 negatives, 1 from boundary 1 over here and 1 also from this boundary over here. So you're going to have a minus 1, minus 1. Then this part you're going to get, so when you substitute this part inside, you're going to end up with minus 3 over 2. And then when you substitute this inside, the negative from the boundary will cause it to be a positive. And since this is a square, so the negative 1 will not affect it and it will stay as positive 3 over 2. Well, for this part you have half and then minus, so the negative over here would not affect the minus from the boundary because that this power is an even, so it becomes plus 2 minus 2. And then for this part, if you didn't realize, for these two, these two, and these two will just cancel each other out and end up with a 0. So what we're going to be left over here will be, so when you put these 4 together, you're going to get, so 24 plus 24, 48. 48 minus these two together, 16 is 32. Well, on the other hand, the behind part, 3 plus 3, 6 minus 1 minus 1, 2. So 6 minus 2 is basically 4. So 32 will add with 4, which we're going to end up with 36. And that is our result for this example. So for this example, what we mainly did was just that we separated into 2 parts and we integrated for both of these and add them together to get the overall deal. Okay. Then after that, over here, what we mainly did was just some basic integrations. So now that we are done over here, just take a quick look. Last but not least, thank you for your watching.